Hello! Welcome to Essay Nights, the Essay Slayers. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through Promote Children and Young People's Positve Behaviour essay. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at Essay Nights. The link is in the description. In this assignment I will be looking to demonstrate my knowledge of 3 different assessment criteria. Firstly, I will be looking to explain the benefits of all staff consistently and fairly applying boundaries and rules for children and young people's behavior. I will then look to explain how the application of boundaries and rules for behavior complies with the policies and procedures of the setting. I will then move on to explaining the benefits of actively promoting positive aspects of behavior as well as explaining the strategies for actively promoting positive aspects of behavior. And finally I will look to give an explanation of the sorts of behavior or discipline problems that should be referred to others, and then I will look to give an understanding of the procedures for reporting problems. Firstly, it is important for all staff to be consistent and fair when applying boundaries and rules for children and young people and outline any implications that inconsistent application of rules may have. It is also important to make sure that all children are treated equally. Not only will that mean that the children trust you, but it also means that the children will know exactly where the boundaries are, which is very important when being in the classroom but also when outside the classroom as well. Making sure there isn't any inconsistency as well is very important for both staff as students. This is likely to happen if children can see they aren't being treated fairly, which may lead to children trying to play staff off against each other and as a team may cause tension for them. There are many examples which back this up, and the best one is when at the end of playtime whoever is on duty blows the whistle and the children line up into their class lines and then are quietly led back to their classrooms by their teacher. If this didn't happen, there would be problems getting back into school and could lead to accidents happening after playtime has finished and also as the children make their way back into school for lessons. In my setting at Roseberry, which is a short-stay school, an example of this would be at the end of each lesson either the class teacher or the support staff who has worked with will lead the class over the next lesson or to break or lunchtime. The reason we do this is to make sure our pupils do not disturb other lessons which are going at the same time. It also means that should any trouble between students break out, which is a big possibility working at Roseberry, then there will be a member of staff available to attempt to break up and restrain any pupils should it be required. There are many benefits of encouraging and rewarding positive behavior of children and young people. Firstly, starting with the fact that positive behavior does highlight to other children what type of behavior they should be displaying, which is extremely important to see in the classroom and outside during break and lunch times in their own time. This could also lead to teachers trusting the pupils with important jobs like delivering messages to other classes, etc. This in turn means that children are more likely to repeat any positive behavior they see from others, as they can see what positive behavior looks like and what rewards come with good behavior. Another benefit from encouraging behavior is that if a pupil is praised for good behavior which they have shown, will mean that the children in question will only get more confident and their self-esteem will also increase, which is a good thing to have at a young age, especially when it comes to preparing for later life as well. Another thing which comes from positive behavior and also sets children up for later life is that working relationships will become more positive, which will set up friendships for later life. Also, should a child get house points for good work or good behavior, or even win Pupil of the Week off the class teacher, which is what we have brought into Roseberry in recent weeks, which has only giving our pupils something to aim for, especially when they all see certificates up in the foyer when they come into school every morning, then the success will only spur them on to continue with their good behavior, as they can see the rewards that will come with good behavior and continue to receive awards and rewards for good reason. Finally, good behavior also removes any potential barriers to learning, which is very important, as it will mean children will be able to have full focus on what they are being taught by their class teacher and will therefore be more likely to succeed with any sort of exam or assessment they get set. Schools must comply with sanctions because it is one of the many policies which schools must abide by in terms of legal requirements, but also children and young people need to be praised when they have done something right and when they really have achieved something, and that is what as staff we attempt to do as often as possible. There are however times when bad behavior does need to be dealt with, and it is important to know how you go about it. For example, knowing who you need to tell and how you go about telling them are both important things which must be taken into consideration when having to deal with bad behavior. Firstly, it is important to act within the boundaries of my role within the school when dealing with bad behavior, and I must also remember if I am unsure about what these boundaries are, I should seek support from a fellow member of staff who does know the correct guidelines and boundaries. If I am in the position where I witness violent or aggressive behavior which has led to there being a big risk of children and or staff getting hurt, then instantly at the very least I should tell my class teacher what I have seen so they can deal with it and inform the right people, whether that be just the headmaster to deal with it and take the right action, whatever that may be. This is also the same procedure if you notice any bullying going on, or if you are told by a pupil they are being bullied or they have seen bully, taking the accusation seriously and making sure the class teacher knows about it as soon as possible so they can follow it up quickly and in the right way by letting the relevant people know. If there is any behavior which comes under the category of persistent non-compliance behavior, which would include children not doing what they have been asked to do, for example being out of their chairs to go and talk to others while in lesson, this is then another barrier to learning. This type of example normally includes a lot of children, which means more are unable to learn and more face getting in trouble for not following instructions. There are many examples of the sorts of behavior or discipline problems that should be referred to others, and these include violent or aggressive behavior, bullying of any kind, whether that be physical or cyber, if the pupils are being non-compliant. Any sort of uncharacteristic behavior is another good example which at Roseberry we see all too often. Another example which once again we see at Roseberry is a poor attendances which some of our children have, and that is usually due to all of the reasons above and must be dealt with as a matter of emergency should this occur, as the pupils have a legal requirement to be in school until they leave at the age of 16. Overall, it is important to remember that positive behavior really needs to be rewarded by the staff at school, as it can improve self-esteem of the children in question and is very likely to mean that they keep up their good behavior in the future. It is also important to remember that if behavior isn't good, then the correct sanctions must be brought in, so it's fair on all pupils that they are all following the same rules, but also so those who are misbehaving are able to learn from a negative experience like getting in trouble. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about Promote Children and Young People's Positve Behaviour essay as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at A9AYTZ2X8B for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.